Hello students, welcome to the EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Rashmi Sharma, Head of the Department OBNHR, Lal Bahadur Shastri Institute of Management, Delhi. Today we will learn the module Dejobbing. This module is from the paper Contemporary Issues in HRM and Future Trends. Let's understand what would be the learning outcomes from this module. We would be introducing the subject dejobbing. What does that mean? That is a jobless job. Reasons of dejobbing, techniques of dejobbing, characteristics of a dejobbed organization, organization life stages and dejobbing, formulating a dejobbing strategy, and some corporate examples. After completing this module, the students will be able to understand the importance of dejobbing, understand the strategies and processes of dejobbing, learn about the dejobbed organizations, understand the relationship between the life cycle of an organization and dejobbing. The term dejobbing is a way out for the employee that frees them from the shackles of a job description. Google defines job as a task or piece of work or a responsibility or a duty. In general, we can say that it is a well-defined task. The jobs, as we know, are vanishing now. And along with it are the terms like job security, specified duty, and fixed-term employment. This has not only changed the way the job analysis was done, but has also called upon for new and innovative ways of recruiting the candidates. Dejobbing, as per William Bridges, that is author of Job Shift: How to Prosper in a Workplace Without Jobs, is when an organization or industry shifts away from the formal job description to some other arrangement to get their work done. Dejobbing is a simple disentangling of the job description and boundaries to make room for a team project approach of doing things in the organization. Dejobbing is focused on doing more work with fewer resources. It is an easy way out for the companies who are looking to cut down the costs, especially in the labor-intensive organization such as manufacturing, where the labor cost constitutes the major cost. William Bridges, in his paper Job Shift: How to Prosper in a Marketplace Without Jobs in 1994, mentioned the term job as boxes in an organizational chart with regular duties, hours, and salaries, and explained that this practice needs to go in order to gain more flexibility and efficiency. Faiza Tabassum Azmi, a researcher, in her paper Job Description to Job Fluidity: Treating the Dejobbing Path in 2007, suggests that more and more organizations are moving towards broader jobs, changing as per the situation and above their job specification. Therefore, dejobbing is simply disentangling the job descriptions and boundaries to make room for a team project approach of doing things in the organization. Dejobbing is focused on doing more work with fewer resources. It's an easy way out for the companies who are looking to cut down the costs, especially the labor-intensive organizations such as manufacturing, where the labor cost constitutes the major cost. Jobs in today's era are becoming more and more ambiguous or opaque and much more extensive in nature. The tasks related to each job are broadening each day, and thus the workers must be encouraged not to limit themselves based on their job description. As per Bridges, they hold people within boundaries rather than allow them to focus on the work itself. So people say, that isn't my job, and the work doesn't get done because they aren't doing their job or their work. they are doing just the jobs. He also termed jobs as too slow and as a historical artifact created by the Industrial Revolution. Let us now understand the reasons of dejobbing. The primary reason is technology, which is the major driving force behind this shift. New technologies are being developed almost every day, making the previous ones obsolete, and therefore organizations who fail to adopt to the latest technology are the ones to fall. Globalization is another primary reason. The world has no boundaries anymore. For organizations willing to expand, sky is the limit. Companies are moving to their businesses to countries where the labor costs are cheaper in order to reduce costs. Economic instability is another factor that affects dejobbing. The world economy is trembling with one crisis after the other hitting the markets worldwide. In such a situation, company has no option but to downsize in order to survive. Changing employees' perspective. The major chunk of the workforce today is Generation Y workforce. The Generation Y in general dislikes the normal routine work that is performed in the organization. They instead prefer more challenging and interesting and meaningful work. Some other factors that can be credited for bringing in the concept or dejobbing are privatization, change in work culture, and shift towards the service economy that requires the organizations to be more innovative and flexible and competitive. Let's understand the techniques of dejobbing. For any organization to adopt dejobbing, it should be a flatter organization. In flatter organizations, there are less number of managers having a greater number of subordinates, which leads to less supervision, and the jobs of subordinates increases in both breadth and depth of responsibilities. We have the boundaryless organizations also. According to Gilmore, in a boundaryless organization, the widespread use of teams and similar structural mechanisms reduces and makes more permeable the boundaries that typically separate the departments like sales and production and hierarchical levels. In such organizations, cross-functional teams are the norm and the employees are actively involved or discouraged from having "it's not my job" kind of an attitude. Work teams. Today, tasks are organized around teams and processes instead of a specialized function. In such an organization, the employees have to fulfill a variety of job roles, which leads to cross-functional and self-directed teams. Re-engineering. Re-engineering brings about a radical quantum change in the organization. It requires the organizational members to rethink what work should be done, how it is to be done, and how best to implement these decisions. Jobs can be re-engineered in several ways. Several specialized jobs can be combined into few relatively newer, enlarged and enriched ones. Employees can become collectively responsible for overall results rather than being individually responsible for their own tasks. Characteristics of a dejobbed organization. You might wonder, how does a dejobbed organization work? Well, they are broad, generalized and market-driven jobs. These jobs are not specific to a set of tasks to be performed, but rather are of a generic nature. They are real-time tasks that need to be done which are derived from the market demand. One has to work beyond the job descriptions. Employees must not restrict themselves to the boundaries that are set by the job description. Job description should just act as a base for the employee to complete the task in hand, and the employer must play an equivalent role in guiding the employees to overcome this obstacle by keeping job descriptions flexible. Broad, generalized and market-driven jobs, multi-skill and multitasking training, working beyond the job descriptions, ever-changing and brief character of jobs, flexible workforce, cross-functional assignments, temporary and autonomous groups are some of the characteristics. Ever-changing and brief characteristics of jobs. Since the jobs are market-driven, they change as per the requirement. Each new project brings in new challenges and opportunities. Also, the competencies that are required in one project may not be useful in the other one, making them ephemeral in nature. A flexible workforce is one where the workforce requirements change in a dejobbed organization as the workers are expected to do more work than usual. The workforce needs to be more agile and responsive to the changes in the market in order to increase the efficiency of the organization. Multi-skill and multitasking training. The employees in this scenario cannot be judged on the basis of a single competence, but rather are required to possess multiple skills. They are supposed to handle multiple tasks at the same time and be efficient as well. Cross-functional assignments require the employees to go beyond the departmental boundaries as described in the job description. Organizations now employ teams constituting of individuals who have multiple skill sets and are ready to learn. The employees must go beyond their comfort zone and perform all the tasks that are required. Temporary and autonomous groups. The teams in a dejobbed organizations are performed as per the requirement of the projects that comes up instead of the traditional teams. These groups have more autonomy when it comes to decision making. The teams last as long as the project does. For every new project, new teams are formed. Let us now understand how organizations' life stages affect dejobbing, or how dejobbing affects the organization's life stages. Throughout its life, an organization undergoes a lot of transformation from being a startup to a prominent market player to a declining brand. As per William Bridges, dejobbing is strongly intertwined with the life cycle of an organization. As a startup, an organization faces shortage of workforce and a specific task or duty. There is a continuous change in the work that needs to be performed as per the shift in the market. There are no job descriptions to define a job role, and responsibilities and jobs have not yet been crystallized as of yet. People have to do everything that they face irrespective of their specified role. As the organization begins to expand and grow, the scenario takes a turn with jobs now beginning to solidify, giving rise to a rigid and concrete job description that specifies the roles and responsibilities of an individual. This results in the formation of boundaries between various roles that differentiates one from the other and restricts an individual's ability to expand. During the further stages, as the company expands more and more, the need to become more efficient is realized in order to sustain this growth. This is when the organization shifts back to the startup culture, wherein each individual is required to perform tasks as per the need of the organization and not the job description. This type of structure in an organization provides more learning opportunities for the employees as well. Let's now understand the dejobbing strategy. This requires us to redefine the business model. The mission and vision of an organization should be flexible enough to enable the organization to adapt to the changing times. The organization must reinvent itself and its organizational model in order to make way for dejobbing. For example, Tesco constantly rejuvenates its values, principles and goals as part of its strategy to grow. Overhauling the present structures. The organizations must be ready to redesign its traditional structures in order to accommodate the dejobbing strategy. Flatter the organization, more successful is the dejobbing strategy. For example, HP shifted from a highly centralized structure to a decentralized one, which led to the overall improvement of employee skills and capabilities. Reforming organizational culture. The organizational culture is a system of shared values, beliefs and assumptions which governs the behavior of the people in an organization. The culture of the organization must encourage and help the employees to take challenging and cross-functional tasks. The organizational culture must promote adaptability and flexibility in the organization. For example, Toyota's success is attributed to its strong culture that accommodates its willingness to change as per the circumstances. Realigning the resources and people. The dejobbing strategy calls for the reconfiguration of all the resources and workforce that the organizations possess so that they are in sync with each other. With each new challenge, the organization must redesign the link between its workforce and the resources. For example, 3M provides its employees with all the resources that they require in order to carry out a research and hence promotes innovation within the organization. Redefining work. As we have already discussed, the organizations need to go beyond the specified job descriptions. The organizations must move from role orientation towards the work orientation. They must realize that specific tasks can make a job dysfunctional over time. For example, British Airways encourages its employees to think beyond. They focus on integrating the flexibility in the organization. Multitasking and multi-skilling is also part of the dejobbing process. Dejobbing demands that employees should be ready to perform multiple activities simultaneously if need arises. Also, the employees must be self-motivated to learn and grow new skills in order to attain their overall development and make challenge ready each time. For example, Nestle provides continuous training and development opportunities to its employees and encourages them to learn new skills to stay ahead in the ever-changing industry. Upload the HR values. All the above mentioned methods cannot produce successful results without a supportive HR strategy. The HR strategy needs to be in line with the corporate strategy and must be flexible enough to accommodate the changes with time. For example, FedEx follows people service profit philosophy and values its employees as a key contributor towards the organization's profitability. It integrates all the HR issues with the corporate strategy. Now let's have a look at some of the corporate examples of dejobbing. In the Intel flexible setup of imploding the existing hierarchy, work is based on projects and therefore the associated responsibilities change accordingly. The employees perform a number of different tasks at different places under several different team leaders. At Apple, people work beyond the scope of the job description. What needs to be done is done irrespective of the role that has been specified. The system promotes flexibility and gives autonomy to the employees as their duties keep changing. At GE, people are encouraged to work in different teams and take up different roles in order to learn the new skills to help the employees to diversify. The new assignments and challenges provide the employees a platform to test their newly honed skills. At Microsoft, project-based assignments are deployed rather than department-based. People work across functions on various discontinuous projects in order to help the employees evolve and grow. At IKEA, work-life balance is promoted through flexible work design. IKEA encourages its employees to innovate, experiment and grow and values the ability of each employee. Strong culture that accommodates creativity, openness, diversity and competitiveness. At Procter & Gamble, sufficient opportunities to the employees are given for career development and growth. Employees can opt for diverse assignments and work in different teams. The company has redesigned its work process and organizational design to make employees feel much more participative. Jobs are fast disappearing from the corporate scenario. Organizations are witnessing a paradigm shift towards a dejobbed environment from the era of specified tasks and duties. Organizations must be prepared to mend their ways and be flexible and agile towards the changing circumstances. Companies must redesign their own strategies and organizational structure in order to accommodate the dejobbing strategy into its corporate strategy. In this scenario, the onus lies on the individuals to demonstrate their value to the organization. The employees should be ready for everything that the organization throws on their way. Individuals must indulge into self-branding in order to highlight their own employability. The wider the skill set, the wider is his chances of being employed. Workers must be a team player now rather than being an individual. Dejobbing is the inevitable truth of the new age corporate world. Both the employer and the employee must come together in order to accommodate and overcome the challenges that are posed by the ever-changing market. Thank you.